Hey everyone! So today's video is going to be about how to get you through a breakup. And you guys know me and I know me, and this is going to be a really long video. I have a lot of notes and a lot of things to convey, but that's okay for two reasons. First of all, I'm not going to be showing anything on the screen that you are going to have to watch. So if you just want to listen as you work or as in the car as you drive or as you're falling asleep, that's totally fine. Unless my voice gives you nightmares, then let's rethink that. And I'm going to chop this up into sections and put it in the description box below in case you want to jump to a certain part of the video, or you're rewatching this for the second, third, fourth, however many times, and you want to go to a specific part and rehear something. So I'll try to make it easy to navigate for you guys. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I have a couple of housekeeping items, but important to hear nonetheless. First and foremost, I'm talking about this as a romantic relationship, and I'm probably going to reference a lot of woman dating man because I'm a woman that dates men, but it is very gender neutral. So it could be a man dating a woman dating a woman, a man dating a man. Everyone is welcome here, and the advice will work for everybody. And it can be all types of relationships. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be like you and your friend had a falling out. I'm going to be sharing a lot of advice here. Don't feel like you have to do everything that I say. Don't feel like this is a specific recipe, and if you don't do each part, you're going to miss something or you're going to be heartbroken forever. It's more like a potluck. Come take what you want, and if you have some great advice, leave it in the comment section below because that helps other people. But if you don't have anything, that's totally fine too. If you're just here to kind of heal, that's okay. But don't feel like it has to be super prescriptive. It's just whatever you need. You know yourself, you know your situation. Everything is circumstantial. Apply my advice however is best for you. The advice that I'm going to be giving is based on the assumption that the relationship is over for the foreseeable future. I feel like, I know what's going to happen to a lot of you if you follow this advice. Your ex is probably going to come back. It might be immediately, it might be 2 months, 8 months, 3 years down the line. What I'm teaching you is not about how to get your ex back. However, everything I will share, there's an underpinning of self-respect, self-worth, valuing yourself, and maintaining your dignity. And those are really attractive qualities about people. So basically, I'm teaching you how to be a sexy mofo. I could have titled the video that actually, and it would be accurate. The reason that I'll never make a video or write a post or talk about getting your ex back is because, not that it can't be done, it can definitely be done. Just a little information about human behavior will teach you exactly how to do that. But I don't believe in it. I don't ever believe that you should have to sell somebody on yourself. You should never have to convince somebody of your worth. Sometimes people won't bother getting to know you and you'll think, well, I'm a great person, and they won't even bother. That's their loss. Sometimes people will be around and they will see how great you are and they still choose not to be with you. That's their loss. Acceptance is such a huge part of it. I touched on this in my jealousy video, but if you focus on something that doesn't want you or doesn't want to be around you, you're really missing the big picture. You're missing other opportunities to be happier, healthier, more successful, whatever it is. It can apply to relationships and outside of relationships. Okay, so now that that stuff is covered, let's get into part one of the 2 parts that I'm talking about and how to get over a relationship. So when I was trying to decide what I should do first, there's a technical part and then there's an emotional part. But when I stop to think about it, if I do the technical part first, you can actually pull out your phone and do these things as I'm talking about them. When we get to the emotional part, you're going to feel like you already made progress. Before the video is over, you've already done something, and that little bit, even though it's bite-sized and it's just small things, they're going to make you feel like you've made progression, that you've moved forward. So when we get to the emotional part, you'll feel powerful, and that's what I want you guys to feel. So let's go ahead and get started with the technical side of things. First and foremost, I wouldn't be talking about this stuff if it was 1995, okay? I'm talking about it because it's 2015 and we communicate a lot with technology. So we have to manage that. That's a huge part of when you go through a breakup. These are things that will trip you up. So let's go ahead and take care of them. We're going to talk about text messages, changing the person's name in your phone, ringtone, and managing social media. That one. Pay attention to that one. Okay, so one quick story that's going to help you understand the tips I'm about to give. We're going back in time to a psychological experiment about Pavlov and his dog. So I'm going to kind of sift this down and just talk about it very, very basic terms. But if you're interested, by all means, go learn about it. It applies to a lot of things in life, but it is the concept of conditioning. So Pavlov was a dude who had a bunch of dogs and a bell and some food. And just a little bit of biology. When we see food, even us, and dogs see food, we begin to salivate because digestion starts in the mouth. And food is the stimulus for that. So that happens when you see food, or maybe you're really good at visualizing food. That process begins to take place. So what Pavlov did was he transferred the stimulus of food from food itself to the bell. So the bell is now the stimulus. So the very basic idea of the experiment was right before the food was brought out to the dogs, the bell was rang. And it was done so many times that the dogs actually begin to salivate at the sound of the bell, even if no food showed up. So the stimulus was transferred from the food itself to the bell. So now it's not even visual anymore. Now it's audible. So what do a bunch of drooling dogs have to do with getting through a breakup? I could make 1,000 jokes right there, but I'll leave that to your imagination. Basically, your ringtone, your text tone, and even the name that comes up on your phone is triggering a lot of emotions that you have conditioned yourself to feel. So every time you hear like a text tone that's specific to the person that you've broken up with, or a ringtone, you are setting into motion a whole bunch of emotions that you don't necessarily want to happen. So change your text tone, change the ringtone, and change their name on your phone. I have a default for everybody. So what I do is I just make theirs silent. So I just go in, you can do this on your iPhone, you can do this right now with me. Go on your phone and just make it silent or change it to the default one. I change it to silent because even though I have a default text tone and ringtone, I still know like during what times of the day I hear from this person. And so if somebody else texts me during that time, I get excited and then I get disappointed. And then it's a whole array of emotions I didn't want to feel. So set yourself up for success. As far as changing their name, when I see their name in my phone, that's my visual stimulus. I still get a certain set of emotions and they kind of get going. So I change their name to something that's actually productive. Now I've seen my friends change names to like douchebag and jerk, or they put the little devil emoji, which is all good and well, but I definitely believe if you're going to change the name, might as well make it something productive. Might as well make it something that becomes a tool for you. So I use an acronym because I don't want people to like know my business and my phone, if my phone's set out and I get a text or something. So I use an acronym. An example of one that I've used before is YDB, and I know it means you deserve better. So then I see that and I can begin to remind myself before I've even read the message of why did I make the decision that I make? Why am I here? What do I need to do? Setting myself up for success. So change the text tone and the ringtone because you don't want to start drooling, and change the name in your phone so that you're not triggering a set of emotions that are going to conflict with the logical thing that you need to do. You pretty much just, you help yourself do the right thing by doing something like that. If you get a text, I really believe communication is not necessary. A breakup is a breakup is a breakup. You said you didn't want to be a part of my life, or I told you I didn't want you to be a part of my life, and that's it. There needs to be no further communication. I know it's hard, it's especially hard for women because women tend to be more nurturing in that sense, and they don't want to be like, I find a lot of my girlfriends saying, you know, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. I don't really hear that from my guy friends. My guy friends just say, my time is limited. Like, I'm not going to text you back if I don't care about you. It's hard to hear and it's a hard pill to swallow, but time is the only thing on this earth that you can never have back. So I really believe in not communicating. And if they ask you questions or call you, you don't have to reply. You don't have to answer the phone. You don't even have to listen to the voicemail. So set yourself up to be healthy. This is all things that are going to make you happier. Now, last part of this technical stuff is social media. And This, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten these breakup emails, and it starts with somebody he was talking to on Twitter, a picture I saw him in on Facebook, an Instagram of some random person, or a comment from some girl that means they're getting married and they've already had 3 babies. So social media can really, really screw with your head. So check it before you get to that space. There's this prevalent idea that, what's the saying? Like, a life well lived is the best revenge, or, show him how great you are without him. And I disagree with that, because you're not living your life for him anymore. Like, you shouldn't have been in the first place, but you're definitely not right now. You shouldn't be. I wholeheartedly disagree with the idea that it becomes your burden to prove to somebody else who no longer is a priority in your life how good your life is. I hope when I say it like that, it really sends the message I'm trying to send. Do you realize how convoluted that sounds? It's crazy. So I know that there's, like a small percentage of people out there that are emotional ninjas, and they know how to just be done with something, and then they're not going to stalk, and they're not going to go on that person's profile page and check up on them. Well, the rest of us, myself included, are not emotional ninjas. So we need to set boundaries, even for ourselves, because sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. On Facebook, you can remove people from your feed, so you don't have to see them come up in your feed anymore. And on Twitter, you can mute people. That's something that I just learned. On Instagram, you're kind of screwed because you have to see the picture if you follow the person. But that's for the ninjas out there, okay? If you're an emotional Jedi Master, you're fine. The rest of us have to take more precautions. So remove the person, block them so it makes it even more difficult for you to go check up on them, because if they have public profiles, you can just type in a username and go see it. But if you block them and you make it harder for you to check up on them, you're not going to send yourself into an emotional tailspin when you see something. So yeah, just take them off. Take them off, block them, remove them. Their life shouldn't matter anymore. And you definitely have to do this if you're one of those people that's thinking, I'm gonna post this picture and I hope that either it initiates contact, that he wants to text me or call me, he gets jealous, he likes it, whatever. If you're looking for any sort of interaction, you are exactly the profile of the type of person that needs to manage social media by removing them, blocking them. Get it out of your life. Stop living for other people, especially people who don't want to be a part of your life. That makes no sense. Say it out loud. It sounds like craziness. So that's the technical side of things. Now let's talk about the emotional stuff. And hopefully you've gone through your phone, you've changed a couple things around, and you feel like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to change my perspective and to see things a little bit differently. So let's get started on that. So my first piece of advice as far as the emotional side of things goes is to stop talking about it. Pick a few people in your life that will empathize and they will support your decision, and they are really willing to listen and be compassionate, and then stop talking about it. I wrote this in an email to somebody, and I wrote it so well that I'm just gonna read it verbatim because I think it really hits the nail on the head. So the reason that you should stop talking about it is really twofold. So of course you need to talk about it. You need to air your grievances. You're going to work out solutions by just saying things out loud to somebody else. And of course there's probably people in your life that have a little bit of wisdom to offer, but don't talk to everyone about it, because it turns into just you get stuck. You get emotionally stuck. It's like a broken record. You just keep going back to that space, and that's not the goal of things. Talking to the wrong people will make you second guess your decision. A lot of people project their own wants, desires, and fears without realizing what kind of damage they're doing. It takes a very objective person to truly empathize without imposing their personal beliefs. And to put it bluntly, you owe no one an explanation. So when people ask you, don't feel like you have to tell them. The second part of it is continuing to ruminate on it isn't really productive. Every word, action, text, phone call, Facebook like, it doesn't need to be dissected. And the more you focus on your emotion and on telling and retelling the story, the more the situation turns into emotional quicksand. You lived through it once. How many more times do you want to live through it? So more to that point, you really need to pick who you talk to very, very, very carefully. I cannot emphasize that enough. There are people in your life that have the ability, we give them the ability to make us feel worse when we're already feeling down. You can probably think of a list of 10 people right off the top of your head, friends, family, coworkers, they're everywhere. There are people that don't know how to be compassionate. They don't know how to empathize, but I'm not here to change them. All I'm trying to do is to warn you that if you think you feel bad, there's a way you can feel worse by talking to somebody like this. You definitely want to pick the people that you share your most vulnerable moments with very, very carefully. During this time, your friends and your support system is going to be really, really important. And that's something you probably should be working on all the time. That's something I'm constantly working on in my life. I'm trying to find the people in my life that make it better. I posted this quote on Facebook and you guys really seemed to like it. And I wanted to say it and elaborate on it a little more, but good friends are like stars in the night. They're there in the daylight, even though you don't see them or need them, but they glow in the darkness to give you light and find your way home. Going through a breakup can be a very dark place, and that's okay. You're human. Go there and feel all the feels, but don't pitch a tent and stay there. Look up at the stars, anticipate the dawn, and know that you're going to get through it. And find your stars. Find those friends that are going to be there for you, that are going to laugh with you and tell you everything's going to be okay, and are going to force you out of the house to meet people, because that's how you make it through. I think my older brother was the one who said, you're born and then you die, and the thing that makes the in-between worth living for are the people that you know. So this is definitely one of those examples where like your friends are imperative, but you have to also understand that you don't need to tell everybody. You don't need to be stuck there. Tell the people that are going to help you. In order to convey the best type of person to share something like this with, I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of like how I feel with my little brother. My little brother is brilliant in so many ways, but he's brilliant when it comes to putting broken Nur back together. He's seen me broken a couple of times and in different areas of my life. And he does this thing that's incredible. He can empathize with me. So he'll go to my dark place with me, and he will, let me get it off my chest. There's no judgment. There's no disappointment. There's no disbelief. And then he knows right at the moment where I'm ready to pick myself back up. Most of the time it's in the same conversation. I really try to be very resilient. And he will say, okay, action plan. How do we make this better? Or what do we need to remind ourselves every day so that we can feel better? I admire him deeply for this, and I every day strive to master it in the way he's mastered it, because he's able to suspend everything that's going on in his life and be so selfless, and I want to be like that. But those are the type of people that you need to be sharing this with, and I will say they are far and few between. So when you find them, you do everything not to hold on to them, because the only way to hold on to them is to be a good friend so that they stay. So be a good friend, be a good person. So choose your stars wisely. The next part of this is about something that I'm not going to condone probably ever again, but it's really important during, especially the beginning phases of getting through a breakup. You need to make a list, a very detailed and accessible list about everything about the person. So you go in and either write it in notes or write it in an email you can pull up that quickly so that you can read it every time you miss them. And I'm talking about detailed. So yes, it's probably going to make you sad, angry, feel like you were taken advantage of, annoyed. I need you to elicit those emotions by reading this list. So make the list, make it as long as you need to make it. Why is this important? So in the beginning, while you're still getting through a breakup, I see this happen all the time where people reminisce about the good things in the relationship, but so casually and easily forget all the bad things. What's actually happening is, it's scientific. Your brain is suppressing and substituting for bad memories. So your brain loves you. It wants you to be happy. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like self-preservation, and you need to override that for just temporarily. It's not going to be forever. So the moment that you think of something good, like, oh, I remember that one time we went to Disney. No, I don't. Because I pull up the list and I remind myself very, very quickly, like, oh, hold on, I'm forgetting a lot of things. I won't ask you to harbor negative feelings because that can be very, very destructive. But you have to give yourself time. You have to give yourself the ability to get past this. You're not going to need this list forever. You're not going to stay in this space forever. But take back control. Don't let your brain do crazy things. And I will only condone it in this situation because it will make you, in the long term, happier and healthier emotionally and even sometimes physically. So try to remind yourself, because your brain is trying to forget because it wants you to be happy. But you're going to step in. We're going to take it off autopilot for just a little bit, and then you'll move past that stage. The next piece of advice is something that's even hard for me to do because I'm an introvert and I love my alone time, especially when I'm going through things. I just feel like I need to collect my thoughts and organize them and see how I feel. But I'm telling you this as an introvert, get out of your apartment, your home, and your own head. Get out. I am by no means saying that you should be out there and trying to find the next person to date. That's something that's entirely up to you. If you have baggage, then take some time, sort through that. If you have so much baggage, you got to check it. You're going to need a little more time. Everybody's different. You know yourself. But the point of getting out there is to remind yourself how freaking likable you are. And it's not about the gender that you're trying to date. It's not about getting attention from them. It's not about having a stupid time. It's just about connecting with people. Make new friends. Meet new people. Remind yourself that you're awesome. Sometimes you forget that, especially if you're somebody who's on the receiving end of a breakup. That will do some damage to a person's self-esteem. But if you put yourself out there and you remind yourself of your ability to connect with all different types of people, it becomes a huge distraction, so you're not sitting at home ruminating about whatever mess is going on. You're out there and you're having fun and you're pushing yourself closer to healing. There's this giant misconception about love. I know a lot of people who sit around and they wait for magic. They wait for a connection. They wait for chemistry. We're compatible. We're so much alike. We're so attracted. I will tell you right now, this is a scientific fact, and this is something that I experienced in my personal life. You create magic. You make that happen. Stop being a sitting duck. Stop waiting for somebody to come and make you feel great. You make yourself feel great. Stop waiting for something magical to happen and be magical. Be magical in every interaction. Be magical when you go to the grocery store. Be magical when you're meeting coworkers. Be magical when you're sitting in a 7 a.m. meeting and you don't want to be there. There's something extremely magnetic about that. And a lot of people, when they go through a breakup, they think, I'm never going to have these inside jokes with somebody else. We're never going to have the same experiences. He's never going to like the same shows, or we're never going to like the same songs. And people get stuck on that. They get very stuck on that. I'm going to tell you right now, there was a time when I dated a lot and I had inside jokes with everybody. I made everybody watch Game of Thrones. I really hope none of the guys that I've dated are watching this, because they're gonna be like, really? But yeah, I've watched the first season probably a dozen times. But some of them hated it. Put them on the chopping block. I'm just kidding. Not really. But you will have unique experiences with everybody, and you will have magic with a lot of people. I personally don't believe in the concept of a single soulmate. I think you can have many soulmates in many forms. I feel like there are some people that I've met in my life that are just friends, and I feel like they're my soulmates, like I connect with them. But you got to create your own magic. You have to be your own light. You cannot sit around and wait for that. And you can have magic in every part of your life. So do it. Don't wait. Don't wait. Trust me. It begins, do it, and you don't have to. If you feel uncomfortable, you feel like I don't have the confidence to do that, start small. Start by smiling at people. Just smile, be inviting, be warm, be lovable, and people will think you are absolutely charismatic and magnetic. I can probably do a video separate outside of this about that kind of stuff. Maybe like a first impressions not a beauty first impressions, but like a first impressions, like how to make a great first impression. A little bonus thing that you can do is you can make a calendar and you can set realistic goals for not communicating with somebody and not thinking about somebody and moving forward. So what I mean by realistic goals, sometimes when we get through a breakup, we think about forever. I'm never going to talk to this person forever. I'm single now forever. And that is so incredibly daunting. A lifetime is daunting. So either make a calendar, or like you can do it in your phone, or you can, visual is better, because when you can see, you believe. Even if it's one single day, put an X on a calendar that you can just print out from the internet. I went this whole day without calling or texting this person. I mean, even if you have to do it to, I wake up at 8 a.m. I just got to make it 12 hours. If I can make it to 8 p.m., I'm going to put a little gold star, or I'm going to put a giant X or something. Because if you can see your progression, you're not going to regress. This is actually something that they teach people even with like health and nutrition and weight loss. Visual things will change your ability to endure. That I was like, am I going to find the right word? Yeah, it is endurance. Sustain your level of success by showing yourself what you've already done. It is so much harder to let yourself down when you can see 3 giant red X's and you're like, I've gone 3 days. I've gone 3 days without texting this person, and now I want to text them. You're gonna be like, no, come on. Like, I'm succeeding. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not gonna, let's see if I can do 3 more days and how I feel. And then it's gonna become easy. You're gonna forget about that calendar. Trust me, you're gonna forget about that calendar, because you're gonna start living life. And you won't have time for X's. No pun intended. X's on the calendar. X's as in ex-boyfriend, girlfriend. See what I did there? I wanna give you guys a technique that I use to not focus too much on something. So thoughts are going to jump in your head. You're going to feel things. And the secret to a lot of things in life, to not focusing on bad things in life, is to be able to let them go. So it's going to happen. You're going to feel a moment where you feel vulnerable or you feel weak, and you're going to feel like, oh gosh, I miss them. I miss this person. The key to forgetting something is to not focus on forgetting it. For example, this is an example a lot of people use. If I say, don't think of a giant giraffe right now, your brain automatically went to a giant giraffe as opposed to a small one, a baby giraffe. That's the same thing. If you tell yourself, I'm not going to think about him, I'm not going to think about her, and you repeat it over and over and over again, you actually stay in that place. You actually end up thinking about him or her for way longer than you should have. The visual that I personally like to use is I like to imagine myself watching the situation as a spectator, so that, I let myself feel it and I kind of step outside myself and I'm like, okay, as if I'm an audience member. Let the emotion come through, let it go, on to the next thing, on to the next distraction, or I'm gonna go outside, or I'm gonna go walk the dog, or whatever it takes for me to leave this moment. And back to conditioning and habits, you will habitualize that process so that it will become easier and easier. Neuroplasticity in the brain teaches us that the brain is extremely susceptible to being trained in new ways. That's something that'll distract you from a breakup. Go Google neuroplasticity and all the ways that you can actually control your brain and teach yourself new habits. But it's possible. And I feel like not enough people know it's possible. I think a lot of people feel like they're at the mercy of their minds, and you're not. You're in control of your mind, and all it takes is a little bit of information to understand what's possible to change your entire world. I hope I've touched on it a little bit today. There's so much more that you can look up. Human behavior and psychology just blows my mind. I didn't study it. I took one course in college and I've been obsessed ever since. There's something about coexisting with fellow man that I just want to understand people. I just want to understand people. I want to help people. And I feel like I do that by understanding how our brains function. So I want to end this video by talking a little bit about the things that we feel after a breakup. You're probably like, oh my gosh, the end of the video, this is amazing. Never thought we'd get here. I feel so incredibly passionate about you, whoever's listening to this or watching this. Please do not change your mind about love. Please do not let one person or two people, 3 people, maybe 10 people make you believe in love any less. Love is an incredible thing. It is an incredible emotion that has the ability to make you function at a higher vibration. And you can get love in a lot of different ways. And one of those is romantic, but that seems to be the one that hurts us the most. And I think we go through a lot of things and they give love a bad name. Don't associate crap with love. Love is an incredible thing. Don't give people the power to change your mind about something that is so amazing. If you become cynical and you become bitter and you become resentful, they win. Whoever it is, that friend that betrayed you, that ex that took advantage of you, don't give them that power. Keep that power for yourself and have a little bit of faith. Have faith that things are going to be okay. So in the beginning of the video, I wanted to tell you that you were going to be okay, and I wanted you to believe that. So wherever you are right now, hopefully it's a place that you can say this out loud. I need you to say, I'm going to be okay, and I need you to believe it. And if it makes you cry, that's totally fine. And if it makes you emotional, that's okay. But you have to say it and you have to believe it, because nothing I've shared in this video is going to work without your self-belief. It starts and ends there. I can believe all day long you're going to be okay, but that's not going to change your situation. I love you guys so much. I want each and every single one of you to be happy and healthy. Breakups are not fun. They're just a part of life. Be a risk taker. You never know the kind of person that you're going to meet that's going to completely change your life. And that, I mean that in a lot of different ways. Go out there, be magical, find your stars. Don't live in emotional quicksand. I'm trying to touch everything. Make that list. Make that list. Girl, make that list. Manage your social media. Take care of your texts. Take care of your phone calls. Take care of yourself. But I hope this helped even a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. And I will see you guys super soon. Bye.